What's going on, all you James Gunn enthusiasts? Your two favorite Ravagers are back once again, and we're here back tonight. We have just exited the theater, and we're going to share our thoughts with the brand new, the finale in the Guardians of the Galaxy trilogy, Guardians of the Galaxy, Volume 3.
Are you ready for one last ride? We'll all fly away together into the forever and beautiful sky.
That's right. Those wild underdogs and misfits are back for the third and final installment in the James Gunn trilogy before he went over to the dark side, being the DCU. Final movie with Marvel, and he really goes out with a bang in this film. A really great action, set pieces, visual effects, and a really darker tone having to do with the backstory of Rocket Raccoon and where he goes with that. But since the last movie, we're catching up with these characters behind us that we've fallen in love with over the years. Chris Pratt playing Peter Quill, Drax. You have Nebula, Mantis, Groot, Cosmo's introduced in this, and then the other Ravager behind me. Basically, where the Guardians are at and what happened to Gamora in the last movie and where she's at in this film. Kind of same person, but a different timeline. She's not the same person. So her Peter Quill don't have this relationship anymore, and it really sets up the rest of the film.
Yeah, really. The last time we saw the Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 was a long time ago. That was back before what the events that happened in Avengers and Infinity War and Endgame. So lots happened to this group. And actually, the last time we saw them was on the holiday special on Disney Plus. We saw most of these characters, and that we had a lot of fun with that. And it gave you kind of a glimpse into sort of the tone that James Gunn wanted to end the trilogy on. He wanted it to bring the group together one final time and give them a great send off for each of the characters. And that's what James Gunn does really well. He gives these minor characters and gives them a lot of screen time, especially Nebula in this one. She gets a lot to do. What could seemingly be just a throwaway character in any other franchise, like he highlights the less popular characters and gives them a really rich backstory and gives them stuff to do where in other works they wouldn't get that opportunity to do that. So Karen Gillan, she has a lot to do. She has some new powers in this, which was interesting and exciting. And not only do we reunite with the Guardians of old that we love, Drax, obviously, Star-Lord, everybody's back. Groot, he's a little older now. He's a teenager. He's very much back with the group. And the focus in this movie, of course, is Rocket Raccoon and his backstory. But we also have some new characters that come into the fray. One being Will Poulter playing
Adam Warlock, finally.
That's right.
The live adaptation, which didn't really look like him, but he's introduced. But the setup of Adam Warlock has to do with the High Evolutionary, which is like the new villain, which is really amazing in this. Rocket escapes from this laboratory. They're doing all these tests on animals and transforming them, trying to make them into this perfect society. And he's like a mad scientist. And Rocket escapes from that. Adam Warlock goes after trying to capture Rocket and bring him back.
Adam Warlock, we got introduced to from playing the Guardians of the Galaxy game. I thought they did a much better job with that, with the character's look and him being really powerful. And it was just honestly better on the video game version. Will Poulter's, we both enjoy his work, and he does a fine job at just like kind of shoddy. He just had gold paint on his face with a jewel kind of on his, pretty much looked like gold dust from WWF back in the day. So the look of it wasn't that great, but it's in line with the rest of James Gunn's, ragtag group of heroes here. It's much in line with the comedic tone, not something extraordinary and really out there and awesome and looks like a god like he did in the game, but that's fine. We got some great moments with him. He's kind of stupid, so he gets some funny moments with him where he doesn't quite understand what's going on fully and somebody has to tell him. You get all the same great moments between the team here. Some really standout action set pieces in this one, and we also get the first time the Guardians have cussed on the screen, I believe, when Star Lord there does the F bomb.
Yeah, they're risking it all in the final installment, final movie here, and they really are doing everything, going above and beyond in this movie. And yeah, him dropping that F bomb was pretty surprising. But yeah, going back to Adam Warlock, I thought he was the weakest part of this movie. He didn't really have much to do, and I just thought Will Poulter didn't really pull it off like I imagine Adam Warlock from the comics and the video game. He's much bigger and the long hair and everything. I don't know. I just didn't buy that. Maybe just miscasted, but that was probably the weakest part of the movie. The rest of the film, going off what Rocket was dealing with, how he became this character, Adam Warlock finding him and him almost dying, and then the Guardians trying to put their heads together to save their good friend. And that really takes them on this journey throughout the rest of the film.
It was a really heartfelt send off for the group, and with Rocket at the center of it, it really brought the emotional core to the story, gave everybody a reason to rally around each other, get to the heart of the group, and like really go out with a bang and send out these characters that we've got to see over this past decade or more now since James Gunn introduced them. It's been fun following these characters. It's a great universe that James Gunn's built here, and this for his being his last Marvel film, he went out on a high note. Whereas on Volume 2, both of us were disappointed in that. The story was kind of shoddy. It just wasn't as good as the first one. This one makes up for that and really sends him off about as good as you could hope for. Fun film, and I had a really good time with it. The soundtrack was great again, of course. A lot of old, 70s and 80s songs, some rock hits. Some surprising needle drops too throughout the film, but I, for the most part, had a great time with this. Few minor complaints. Adam Warlock wasn't up to snuff, unfortunately, but I liked Cosmo the dog. I thought Maria Baklava did a good job voicing that character. There's
Cosmo.
a lot of funny moments in here. Yeah, Cosmo, another great thing that we saw in the character that we saw in the game. So that was kind of my backstory. But yeah, I loved everybody. Drax has some really cool moments in this film too, where he kind of acknowledges he doesn't know anything. But he really made Drax his own. And, he has stated he doesn't want to play this character again. This was a great send off for him and the rest of the group, really. I will say there's a couple post-credit scenes, so stick around to the end. It kind of gives you a hint to some possible future plans. We're not going to spoil anything, but for the most part, this is the end of the Guardians of the Galaxy as we know it. James Gunn sent him off in style. It's got a really heartfelt ending. Music's great, action's great. There's this really awesome hallway fight scene towards the end of the film that was a pretty amazing scene. It blew me away. So with that being said, I'm going to give Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 a 3.5 out of 5 Peter Quill hair pieces.
Ooh, easy there, Kevin Bacon. I think I liked it a little more. Went into this film with low expectations. I didn't really care for part 2 all that much. I saw it once in the theater, don't remember much, but not remember not caring for it. But this surpassed all my expectations. It brought a lot of emotions to this film. A lot more was on the line. The stakes were higher. They were going out with a bang in this movie, and they really accomplished that. James Gunn, co-writing, directing this film, his final movie in the MCU, and he goes out with a bang. Loved this movie across the board, just a few minor complaints, but it's a fun time at the movies. You're going to get a great soundtrack here, great performances. It's a fun movie, and really one of the better films in the franchise for sure, next to the first one. So with that being said, I'm going to give Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5 group hair pieces.
I love you, family.
Family. I know, right? At the end of the movie, you actually hear group talk. You're like, huh?
That was crazy. Yeah. And it was obviously Vin's voice.
Yeah. Some of the family, it's Vin Diesel. But yeah, also in this movie, a lot of cool cameos along the way. Characters that we're familiar with throughout the MCU. Characters from the other films too that show up along the way. Without spoiling too much, but keep your eyes out on that. And also a character that was in Peacemaker shows up in this film. So keep your eyes out for that.
That was fun. So we want to hear from you guys. What did you guys think of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3? Did you love the emotional send-off from the gang? What do you want to see from future, movies that are going to come from the Guardians of the Galaxy? Who would you maybe like to see direct some Guardians movies in the future? Let us know in the comment section below, and don't forget to click subscribe. Also, follow us on all our social media pages, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and our website, Cinephellas.com, for all the latest and greatest TV movie news and reviews.
That's right. That about wraps it up for this review. I had a great time talking to my good mate here, the newest installment in the MCU, and I can't wait to come back here and talk about more TV shows and movies with all of you. So that being said, this is Logan Myers, my good mate over there.
And I'm Henry Hill. Until the next Cinephellas movie review, cheers!